The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
I miss Joel. Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master, Jared Bachman-Stubbs, and joining me, as always, is your resident Green Lantern professor, Travis Grossman.
Yep. Definitely in the morning when we normally record, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a morning show.
I even had a bang ready to go for this morning.
This one was my fault. This is my fault because I slept in on Monday and created a situation where you could sleep in on Tuesday.
No, I also slept in on Monday. You just slept in more than me on Monday. Because I texted you, hey, can we do 11 instead of 10:30? I didn't get a reply. And when you sent me at 11:15, hey, man, let's just push it to Tuesday, I was like, I get to make breakfast. And then this morning, I'm not sure which happened. I either played Alarm Chicken, where I turned my alarm off, and then was like, I'll close my eyes for like 2 seconds, or I missed the snooze button. I'm not sure which actually happened.
It'd be like that sometimes. It's okay, because I ran around myself and made sure that I was like thumbnails ready, the post on the website's ready. I just have to copy and paste everything. So either way, like once this is done, it is out. So everybody's good on that. Also, if you're trying to watch this in the correct canonical order, you have to watch the episode of Hyper Focus that they just did on Bombad Cast, where Jerry goes to call-ins. You got to watch up to my call-in. And then I leave, and then you have to put this on. Because that's the order it happens in. Also, Jerry and Bupenheim both say hello.
Hello, Jerry and Bupenheim.
But yeah. I can't remember the last time we looked at our lineup for stories to talk about, and it's been this much of a shit show.
I don't know what you mean. This is a light week. There's been nothing going on.
There's one story that you can say is an overall positive, and then a review for the TV show. Also, hey, you guessed it, we're still behind on Titans.
Here's the thing. Titans hasn't been bad enough. I will say, on the whole, it hasn't been bad enough to keep me engrossed in the bell curve theory, right? Of entertainment enjoyment. It hasn't been bad enough to keep me as enticed as if it was good. It's been solidly in the bottom of the curve. So even though 5 episodes deep, I know some of what's happened.
I know nothing.
Then I'm not gonna, partially because I follow the Instagram and they talk about stuff, I will say, as much as I want to hate that, everything about that show, the people that run it seem very cool and open with the fans, and that's awesome. And they feature cosplays and fan art all the time, and the cast gets super interactive, and I can't knock that, even though I want to dislike it. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I hate this show, but God, these people just seem really nice.
I respect you on that one. I think on the whole, just with how much I've enjoyed, compared to the first 6 episodes of season 1, that again, I couldn't finish season 1. Like I had my conversation with you at what the hell was it? Steel City Con, where I was like, I can't do it. I can't finish the show. I can't finish season 1. I can't do it. Like this is past the point of like hate watching it for fun. I'm just legitimately like either falling asleep or I'm forcing myself to be interested. So compared to that, season 3 I've really enjoyed so far by comparison. And I think I joked about it to Travis. I was like, hey, I'm not caught up on Titans and I'm not going to get a chance to before the show. We might end up just having to like blast through it once it's all over and then do a season review as opposed to weekly episodes. And as much as I'm going to hate myself because we're going to have a lot on our plate, I think on the whole, I think I'm going to like it more being able to watch it all in one go.
Yeah, in general, streaming shows tend to be, I think, like, Titans
even the ones that aren't meant to be that way.
Like, Titans especially, in the beginning, was definitely written to be released at once. Like, the first season was written to be released at once, and then wasn't. I watched it all at once because it was already all out by the time I got to it. But, like,
yeah.
Streaming shows in general, they're starting to get out of that a little bit. And I've talked about this before, I think, on the show, about how like the industry kind of pigeonholed himself into like, if we make it for a streaming service, we don't have to do like, we have to make it enticing for you to watch the next episode, but not like leave you in suspense for a week. So,
or leave you in suspense for the week, but at least not so much that you're frustrated that the show ended.
mm-hmm.
Like there's a like you can absolutely like honey dick the audience too hard. And
like if Daredevil season 1 had come out episode by episode, I don't know, like it would have done well because it was still a well-made show, but just how seamless the episodes flow into each other.
Been so hard.
Because those shows, especially by Netflix, are made like to be watched all at once, and they know you're going to watch. Like statistically, they know you're going to watch it almost all at once, and they use that to their advantage. You were gonna say something else?
Yeah, that like the example of like a good example of left the audience in a bit too much suspense. WandaVision. But a lot of that had to do with the fact that the episodes were really short, so that you're like stuck with the like, okay, we're getting details, directed by Jack Schaefer, son of a bitch.
I think that was more intentional. Like they wrote it that way.
It was intentional
because they wanted to build the media hype, and that's they worked the hustle. Got to give them respect for that. So
they absolutely did.
Like how we're avoiding talking about these stories.
I almost like Robert Evans this intro of like, speaking of hustle. Hey Travis, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you give a shit about a new Fantastic Beasts movie?
Had it been so, if you had asked me this question after Fantastic Beasts 1, it would have been pretty high. I really enjoyed Fantastic Beasts 1, personally. I really liked it.
I had fun with it.
I still have not watched Crimes of Grindelwald. I never saw it to begin with because it was Crimes of Grindelwald and not just here's more adventuring in the wizarding world.
Here's more magic animals.
Like the magic of the first one was that it was this aspect of this world that had never been like not just like the animals and the different beasts and stuff, but like we had never seen the United States in Harry Potter. Like it just hadn't happened, and that was super cool. And like getting to see other places, like maybe they go to other places in Europe, maybe they would go to places in Africa, right? Ron, the Weasleys take a vacation to Egypt. in the books, and they briefly talk about it Romania. Maybe it was Romania, not Egypt. Maybe it was both. I
Romania
don't know.
sounds right.
It's been a while since I've read the books, but like just seeing other aspects of the world without it having to like directly tie in to the original story was so cool and so fun. And now that they're treating these just like glorified prequels in the vein of Fantastic Beasts, makes me not at all.
One of the things that I think like is the shoulda, woulda, coulda with this stuff is, like how could people have felt if this was branded the way we're getting it? Like if they had opened up and gone, we're going to do a series of prequels about the revving up to and the first Wizarding War against Gellert Grindelwald, and the main character is going to be Newt Scamander, and you're going to see young Dumbledore, young whomever. People are going to have cameos. If it was billed like that, or hell, if that was even the plan to begin with, which I think is also debatable, that would be one thing. But the fact that it went from this takes place in the same universe, but way earlier in the timeline, slowly turning into a direct prequel. That's where I think that there's a lot of like a lot of people are kind of losing their interest because they were sold a thing that then switched into another.
And like I feel like if someone
that's to say nothing of the way that like the public has generally turned on J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, well, that's
good reason.
I think that might have had something to do with it. Like, I have not done this research. I'm going off of personal like anecdote here. But like I remember when J.K. Rowling got on her big like retcon kick, and the first time of her speaking like, oh yeah, Dumbledore's gay. Like Dumbledore was intended to be gay, and watching the public perception of that moment shift over time, I would get because like originally you had people that were like a very minor amount of people that were upset because he can't be gay, like upset like homophobic upset. Not a lot of those people. People like me who were passive and going, that's cool. Like not thinking too much about it because it doesn't affect me. And then people who were upset about it for the correct reason of like, you just saying this does not make you like an beacon of an ally. Yeah, exactly. Like that's something that took me a long time to understand. I understand that now. I've grown as a person. It's great. Some people might want to try it sometime. That wasn't a direct shot at any particular person. Just like
I figured it was just kind of general, but that also had a lot of fire attached to it, and I love it.
So I'm only halfway through Backstage because you told me to listen to Backstage this week for Schmodown.
I got there I got there when I was listening to, like, I just put it on the background because they were talking about Roka. I got like the tail end of the talk about Roka, and then PJ Campbell was on, and he was kind of dropping bombs about what they're doing for next season.
Yeah, see, I'm not quite. I knew he was going to do that because I saw it in the Facebook group. I wasn't there yet. Instead, I was listening to Bateman talk about his match with Paige. And this is more of talk for Schmodown. I'll get more into this on Contender this week. But him talking about, and I felt this way already, the public like perception of people going after him because like, spoilers, he lost his match. Big upset. Yeah. If you don't watch Schmodown, Big Contender got upset.
Might be upset of the year. It might be upset of the season, honestly.
And people are just taking pot shots at him. And on one hand, take pot shots at the character, that's fine.
Yeah.
He talked about
Go
someone
after the boss, not Ben Bateman.
Yeah, someone like personally DM'd him on Facebook, which he does not use for the character, to like meme on him and like what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Honestly, truly, that's vile.
Again, sidetracking because I don't like talking about J.K. Rowling anymore. It makes me upset. I own a wand. I'm looking at all this. Actually, I'm missing my copy of Sorcerer's Stone. I still don't know where it is, but I'm looking at all my Harry Potter books. Like, it still upsets me. But just the like, because I think the general consensus, like the majority consensus, was, oh, that's neat about Dumbledore for a while, and then slowly we learned, like I listened to other people talk about it, listen to other people saying, no, like she has this track record of not actually being an ally, and then like, and especially like her writing track record of she wants you to think she's smart. Like she has too much pride to admit that like she came up with things on the fly as she was writing.
Yeah.
You know? So like I think as that majority shifted, and now we're in the majority, especially now, but even before the turf thing, of like not like just because you said it doesn't make you this ally.
Yeah.
This gave her like an avenue into like putting it somewhere in canon.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And not only that, like if you really want to talk about, okay, cool, Albus Dumbledore is canonically gay. The only time that we bring his queerness into the story is the implication that he had a very tropey and stereotypical unhealthy relationship with Gellert Grindelwald, where it's like the one instance where you actually make Dumbledore's queerness important. It's feeding a stereotype that we've seen a trillion times, and also a very bad portrayal of gay relationship, where like in the same way where it's like, okay, almost every single character in this goddamn franchise is white. Like, okay, sure, whatever. England, bunch of white people in England. There's also a lot of people of color in England. The one Asian girl is like 2 syllables away from being named Ching Chong. Like, what the shit? If these were like the Harry Potter movies, there's a different conversation because there's a lot of other creators who have their fingers in the pot, adding to the mythos through the movies. J.K. Rowling has had a hand in writing all of the Fantastic Beasts movies, and to my knowledge, that is not changing with The Secrets of Dumbledore.
I
which is
feel like
such a bad subtitle. Like, it has the same energy as The Rise of Skywalker, as a like vague follow-up movie language paired off with character name. We're like, and that should have been the first warning to all of us about episode 9. Like, we're just going to put that out there. That name should have been the first warning that movie was not going to be great. And shame on all of us for not noticing that red flag back in 2019. We are all complicit on that one. But a title like The Secrets of Dumbledore, I'm already like, oh my God, an AI wrote this and not the fun Blue Bantha Milk go away.
This was like the title of a movie that Robot Chicken came up with. Right?
Truly.
I wouldn't be I wouldn't, or like South Park.
Yeah.
Right. So
to address the actual announcement itself, Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore, April 15th, 2022 release date.
Huh?
Yeah, it's right around the corner.
Have they've been working on this then? Like this movie's done?
Yeah, this has been shooting.
Oh, okay. News to me.
We covered this. We covered 3 starting shooting. It was a throwaway story. It was like, hey, this is a thing. Moving on. At least I think we did. Albus Dumbledore knows the powerful dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald is moving to seize control of the wizarding world. Unable to stop him alone, he entrusts Magizoologist Newt Scamander to lead an intrepid team of wizards and witches and one brave Muggle Baker on a dangerous mission where they encounter old and new beasts and clash with Grindelwald's growing legion of followers. But with the stakes so high, how long can Dumbledore remain on the sidelines?
Just make the movie about Dumbledore, man. Like, it's insulting. No, it's not. Actually, Dumbledore is that much of an asshole. For him to be like, hey, I got this zookeeper guy and his Muggle Baker friend.
Right?
They got this.
Do you understand?
Wizard Hitler? Nah, we good, man.
Literally, this is like, okay, 9/11 happened, and we got to strike back against the Taliban, right? George W. Bush is like, you know what I'm gonna do? Steve Irwin and Gordon Ramsay, go find out Osama bin Laden. Like, that is what is happening in this movie.
No. Well, I mean, maybe, but also that would have been a lot more effective than what we did. So
that's true. But my point stands.
Oh my god.
To Steve Irwin in the caves of Afghanistan. Anyway, I'm
gonna go touch it. Oh my god. Who?
You know what else really terrifies me? After the absolute run of horrible things J.K. Rowling has either had to say or write, the fact that this movie is like basically taking place at the same time as World War II.
Yeah. I don't know how they like. I know how.
I'm excited, but for like all the wrong reasons. Like, I'm excited for the same reasons I'm excited to see Venom Let There Be Carnage this week. Review is next week's episode, by the way.
Like, I don't know how she's still on the project. And like that's not true because I do know how, but also like. You'd probably get a better written movie. Like if they pulled the we get a team in to like scrub the books and the existing movies to make sure we're not gonna obstruct anything canonically. And we get like any good film writer to write a movie based on this premise. Like even if she just gave like main points. And even then, like I don't want her doing that much.
Yeah.
But like
because God knows she'll find a way to vindicate before plumbing, they just like Accio shit in the pond.
Yep.
So
you have to excuse me. I have an infestation of fruit flies in my house. It's kind of annoying. So if you see me like swatting or like hitting something,
he's tripping balls.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm not excited for this. Probably not going to see it. I still have not and will refuse to watch Crimes of Grindelwald. Which means if at any point I ever end up in the Intergeekdom and Schmodown, yes, I will fumble the Wizarding World category despite how much I love those movies. Because every question is about Crimes of Grindelwald because they know that's how they'll get me.
No, I'm going to make you watch it and we're going to record an audio commentary for Movie Club. Like
the thing is I'm already tainted by Cosmonaut's video where he like just memed the shit out of it.
That's fair.
You know?
Moving from one project nobody's excited about to another. Real quick, I got your Real Mario Brothers right here. Anyway, the file is Cursed Teen-App Bros is the name of it.
That's good.
Just soak it all in. Okay.
I
This is
wouldn't
so
say
funny. This is so funny to me. While the internet was getting angry about it, I was wheezing. I was like, this is incredible. This is absolutely what it should be.
like I'm not even upset. Like I'm not mad. I know people who are for genuinely like good reasons. I'm not upset. I'm just confused. You know, like when I think Mario, I don't think of
Mario.
Mario. I don't think of a lot of actors. I especially don't think of Christopher Pratt.
Okay, so first of all, I just want to hit up on the point a lot of people have been championing with this of stop giving A-list live action actors voice actors parts. Like, yes, of course there are exceptions. Yes, of course there are instances where that just might be the best person for the role. If this movie is an animation, why cast Chris Pratt?
It has to be an animation, right?
It is. It's Illumination. It's the people who made Despicable Me.
I was going to say, because if it isn't, we're going to have a huge problem because Chris Pratt and Charlie Day are not the correct heights for their characters.
So the casting is as follows. Chris Pratt as Mario. Anya Taylor-Joy is Princess Peach. Charlie Day is Luigi Mario. Jack Black as King Bowser. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong. Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek. Sebastian Maniscalco? Maniscalco? I can't say his name as Spike. And cameos from Charles Martinet. Jack Black is Bowser. I like it. Keegan-Michael Key is Toad. Interesting.
The rest of the voice cast, I really don't have a problem with, other than, like you said, like, get some real voice actors in there. You know? Like, everything else is perfectly fine. I just can't hear, like, I can't hear Chris Pratt doing a Mario voice.
And that's the thing with something like this. Why hire, like, if you're going to have him try to do this, hey, it's me, Mario. Like, if you're going to have him try to do that, why hire him? Or you're going to have this weird ass Mario movie where he's just playing Peter Quill? I don't know. Charlie Day as Luigi is so funny and out of left field that I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jack Black as Bowser, it works. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong is funny. It's just
the
it's
number
so
of edits I've seen of people doing Donkey Kong smash combos, and every hit is a Seth Rogen laugh. Worth it on just that.
I agree. But yeah.
We got a little more Nintendo news that's
Oh,
not
please
this
share.
memeable. Kirby game for the Switch.
Neat.
They are, I forget the date, but they're doing a like separate direct for the final Smash Ultimate character. This morning we got a couple more trailers for Pokemon, both Legends Arceus and Diamond and Pearl remakes. They showed off a new feature in Arceus, like a new boss feature. I don't know how I feel about it because it's like new Pokemon, but they're nobles or noble Pokemon, I think they were called. It's weird.
This is the one with like scissor hands,
like scythe hands or axe hands. Yeah, that's what they showed off. And then they confirmed for Diamond and Pearl that HMs won't be. You won't have to teach your Pokemon HMs, which is huge. Like that's such a big deal because there's like 8. So like in Sword and Shield, right? If you're newer into Pokemon, you've been playing since like X and Y. If you're younger, you haven't had to worry about HMs. You don't have to teach your Pokemon moves to use outside of battle to progress the game. They do that now through different ways that you just unlock as the game progresses, right? Like, you wouldn't have a flying taxi. You would have to teach one of your Pokemon fly or surf or rock smash. And out of those moves, if you needed 8 to finish the game, 6 of them are unusable. Like, they're just really bad moves in battle. So to not have to worry about those in game, A+. Very happy about that. Not having to sacrifice a team slot to a Bidoof is very nice. Although I might still use a Bibarel just cuz. But very excited about that. I think that I didn't actually watch the Nintendo Direct. I didn't realize it was happening until it was already over, and then my feed was flooded with Chris Pratt as Mario. So
understandable. Moving on, the story that's a little bit more complicated. However, before we get into actually explaining what's going on with this, I was going to full screen myself for a second just to make a point. You can like Disney movies and hate the company. Like, seriously, y'all need to stop going to bat for Disney as like a corporation. Its employees, its creators. That's one thing. When you're talking about like the fandom menace people who will, in bad faith, go after Disney employees or go after Disney on like some kind of level to just throw a hissy fit. Defending the people who work for Disney on a creative or like even like logistical level is one thing. Please stop defending the billion-dollar corporation. It's a really weird look. We're going to be going straight out of the Hollywood Reporter article here. Marvel suing to keep rights to Avengers characters from copyright termination. This is Eric Gardner from the Hollywood Reporter. Disney's Marvel unit is suing to hold on to full control of Avengers characters, including Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Falcon, Thor, and others. The complaints, which Hollywood Reporter has obtained, come against the heirs of the late comic book geniuses, including Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and Gene Colan. The suits seek declaratory relief that these blockbuster characters are ineligible for copyright termination as works for hire. If Marvel loses, Disney would have to share ownership of the characters worth billions. In August, the administrator of Ditko's estate filed a notice of termination on Spider-Man, which first appeared in comic book form in 1962 under the termination provisions of copyright law. Authors or their heirs can reclaim rights once granted to publishers after waiting a statutory period of time. According to the termination notice, Marvel would have to give up Ditko's rights to its iconic character in June 2023. Marvel is facing other termination notices. For example, Larry Lieber, who worked at Marvel as a writer as well, filed termination notices over creations in May. The heirs of the comic book creators, including Black Widow creator Don Rico, are being represented by Mark Toberoff, who once famously represented Superman creators Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster in an unsuccessful termination attempt against DC Comics. DC saved off termination by counterclaiming against Toberoff and asserting torturous interference of its rights. The publisher was represented by Dan Percelli. I'm going with Proticelli. Proticelli is what we're looking at Mulvaney, who just happens to be representing Disney now in its efforts to keep the rights from various Avengers. Petrocelli is filing several lawsuits in New York and California against Lieber, Don Heck, Patrick Ditko, Don Rico, and Keith Detterweller. The cases will focus on the creations of famous comic book characters who should be deemed the statutory author. The litigation figures to focus on the Marvel method lose a collaborative working atmosphere whose initial ideas were briefly discussed with artists responsible for taking care of the details. The Marvel method has been the subject of prior litigation, such as a dispute a decade back over Ghost Rider. And it will again. For example, one of the complaints filed today asserts today at the time of the publication of this article, Marvel had the right to exercise creative control over Lieber's contribution and paid Lieber a per page rate for his work. Toberoff has a lot of experience doing this type of case. Almost a decade ago, he represented the estate of comic book legend Jack Kirby over whether he could terminate a copyright grant over Spider-Man, X-Men, The Incredible Hulk, and Thor. In 2013, the Second Court of Appeals affirmed the lower court's ruling that determined Kirby's heirs couldn't wrest back his share of rights to these characters because the former Marvel freelancer had contributed materials as work made for hire. The Kirby case was then petitioned up to the Supreme Court, with the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg signaling some interest in taking up the case. Marvel at the time fought hard against any higher court review, and before the justices decided, the case was settled. Now comes new litigation, which figures to pick up where earlier ones left off. Marvel's suit calls the latest controversy virtually identical circumstances to Kirby's. If the plaintiffs win, Disney expects to at least hold on to a share of the characters' rights as co-owners. The studio would have to share profits with the others. Additionally, the termination provisions of copyright law only apply in the United States, allowing Disney to continue to control and profit from foreign exploitation. So, the people who are saying that if Disney Marvel lose this lawsuit, that the MCU is effectively over, you're wrong. What this is saying is, in the event that the Ditko and Lee, etc. estates win this lawsuit, essentially these characters could end up in the public domain, which would be fucking hysterical. And that they would, Disney, have to share the money, the billions of dollars they make off of these movies with the families of the people who created these characters. This is a net good if the estates of these people win this suit.
So basically, like, you said a lot of words, and
Yes,
there was a lot of jargon in the
Yeah.
article. To kind of like simplify what's going on, basically the people filing suit against Disney, because I didn't see anything about this until I hit the headline of Marvel's countersuing, basically. The people suing Marvel and Disney, are saying that these creators made these characters with the notion that at some point the rights of those characters would be returned in part to them.
Yes.
So, like, if I'm working for Jared and I make him like a box to store things in, and I'm like, eventually in like 20 years, right, I made this for you, but like at some point this will be our thing, and I will have partial ownership of this thing because I made it. It's mine. It's my property. I made the thing. And I made the thing, and I'm sharing it with you for you to like use for greater purposes, but then I'm going to also retain some ownership of it, versus Jared employing me to make a box for him. Right? The difference of the art of someone like Steve Ditko being in partial ownership to him because he's an artist and that's his art and it's his, versus Marvel employed him
specifically
to draw Spider-Man, right? And the big thing, like the reason, because on one hand you could argue that that's what happened. They employed him to draw Spider-Man. What they didn't employ him to do was create the image of Spider-Man, right? Like, and that's the big argument here, I think, is that like Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, like Marvel didn't sit down with them and go, okay, you're going to create a superhero called Spider-Man that looks like this and does this, and right, like it was their creative property that then they went to Marvel with and went, will you publish this? and it's still our thing.
And Marvel didn't think it would sell either. Just putting that out there again.
You know, so like,
not that affects this lawsuit at all, but just saying, like, they bet against Spider-Man.
And now we're at the point where, and like, reading this and reading other articles, it seems to me like part of it was a contract that was like Marvel will have sole ownership for so long, and then when that contract expires, or like under copyright law, that ownership will then transfer in like part back to Ditko.
Yeah.
I'm using just him as the example because it's easier to track. And then Marvel's trying to say, no, that's not how this works, even though that's exactly how this works. So,
yeah.
I just, like, you're already too big to fail, Disney. You don't need this fight. Like, I get, like, on one hand, I get why. I can fathom why, like, in a boardroom, why they chose to do this. On the other hand, is it really worth it? Like, it can't be, right?
And, dude, I will bet every square inch of this studio and its contents and my left nut that this ends in Disney paying out piss off money.
That's true.
They will hand out one lump sum to get this shit out of their way, shake the bad press, and then get back to business as usual. Again, and I'm not saying that like
plot.
It's I don't, and again, like, we are Disney people. Travis and Alexis just came back from Disney World. I literally, because of the tattoos I have, I'm a walking advertisement for Disney. This show does free advertisement for Disney, basically. Like, you can criticize these companies and the business practices and still enjoy and love the art they make. You know, like, not, you know, like, again, Travis, I don't make our politics a secret around here. And I don't feel politically literate enough to really get into that kind of thing in front of a microphone. But you kind of start to get into there's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism type conversation, where it's like, do you want do you want to exist in society? Because like your options are like become monkey and fuck off to the forest, or you exist as a person and recognize some of these power structures around you are inherently broken and want to agitate to fix them, but you still exist within them. And I think it's unfair to shame people for liking the media and art that they like. You know, you're never going to catch me dead saying like, oh, if leftist, why like Star Wars? If communist, why read Iron Man? You know, like, you're never going to catch me doing, because I think it's asinine. You know, I think that's stupid on its face. But like, you can like what they make and hate them as a company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like that is a valid opinion to have. And the way that people are like, oh, we can't, like, it would be a travesty if they won because it would destroy the MCU. No, it won't. And if you think, even if it did, like, Disney has the money to pay out the Ditko and Lee and whomever estates to be like, hey, I need this guy for a movie. What you want?
Well, they'll make the money back. Like,
exactly. There's no price
between
tag.
merchandising, Disney World and land tickets, and movie. You know, assuming movies end up getting back to some
eventually box office.
Hell, just Disney Plus, right?
Just Premier Access.
Prime example, and I'm going to use my work as an example again for our next story. I'm incredibly anti-capitalist. I work for the Capitol, like not that Capitol. I don't want to sound like I work for the White
The
House,
state.
but like, yeah, yeah, the state. Thank you. I work for the most, actually not the most. I don't work for Amazon, but I work for the second, the wannabe. They truly are the Walmart brand of capitalist like slave labor shops, but like it's the same idea, right? Like if
Yeah.
I could go in and every day, dude, I'm getting so much closer to every day go in and I'm just like, hey, we should go on strike. Hey, we should do a walkout. And people are starting. Hey, they know I'm not joking. I've never been joking, but also, I'm getting closer.
I've never
Like
been
every
joking.
day, we get a little more manic and a little bit more like, are we gonna do it today? Are we gonna? We just gonna leave today? Is that what's gonna? Ooh, you know,
I'm
we're
just the
getting
day
there.
you go full marks at Walmart, I want you to know that like
Oh, it already happened.
no, I mean when you start the actual workers' revolt in like
Oh
Podunk,
yeah.
Walmart, yeah.
I kind of talked in our chat about it, and to kind of segue us a little bit into our next story, because it kind of has to do with this still,
Yeah.
you know.
My name for this episode.
A couple like 2 weeks ago, maybe we weren't getting trucks for like 3 days at the store. My job at the store is to unload the trucks that come in, and we found out that it was because we had to change distribution centers. The one we changed to had 99 call offs. Yeah, what does that sound like to you? Sounds like they all went bowling to me. They all went bowling, and they did the thing you do in bowling where you hit all the pins, or maybe it's a different sport. Maybe it was baseball, but they all kept missing their swings. It was really weird. Anyway, yeah, so that happened, and as we're talking about, like, they told me first. My supervisor told me first because I asked first, and my eyes lit up. Everyone around, like, as the news started spreading, everyone looked at me and was like, "So that's why it looks like you're a kid on Christmas morning." And I'm like, "We're next, baby. We're doing it."
Hold on. Can you hear it?
No, I cannot.
God damn it. Joel and I fixed it for like one night. It was the USSR national anthem mixed with All Star.
Please send that to me.
I w-
Please. You just said the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard in my life. Like that.
They're going to put it in the show notes. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, it's in the notes.
I'm gonna enjoy that later. So anyway, workers need rights.
IATSE.
And yeah, people, as someone who takes a lot of bathroom breaks at his job, because
Yeah, same.
I have a weak ass bladder, and I drink a lot of water because I do a lot of physical labor. I got to stay hydrated, so I pee like at least once an hour, if
I
not
don't.
more.
I probably pee a little bit less than that, but I take mad shits. That's gonna end up getting clipped. We've officially hit the point with the trying to talk about Alex Jones in the Phantom Menace video, where it is exclusively being watched by Phantom Menace people, and the comment section reflects that. And we've definitely picked up some hate watchers, and I Take Mad Shits is going to end up in a compilation at some point.
That's okay.
Yeah. You know what my favorite hate comment we've gotten so far is? In reference to me, because I was in the top left of the screen for a good bit of the stream. It's funny that Harry Whale looks like he's in a fish tank.
I think I saw like you posted about it earlier today, and I think I saw that one. Damn, we're almost up to 1,000 views. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the engagement, all of you. You psychotic groupies and grifters. But yeah, IATSE. So, for all intents and purposes, if you want a more detailed explanation of what's going on with IATSE, please, I can't recommend it enough. It's something Travis and I already listened to a good bit. Worst year ever. It's basically the Avengers crossover of the Some More News and Cool Zone Media team of like Behind the Bastards, and it could happen here, kind of crossing over into one show where it's Cody, Katie, Robert, and Sophie Lichterman. Great show. Their episode from 2 weeks ago, they had a representative of IATSE on the show to basically explain what's going on with this potential strike that we are looking at. So, IATSE stands for the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, and it is the biggest union in show business. Basically, subtract the Screen Actors Guild, subtract the PGA, subtract the Writers Guild. Anybody else who works in show business who isn't a producer, an actor, or a writer, if they're in a union, they're in IATSE, which by default makes IATSE the biggest union in showbiz. So this is an article from the Jacobin. On October 1st, the crew members of the most union film and television productions in the United States will decide whether to go on strike for fair pay, adequate rest, and regular breaks. Things that would be that should be a given but are hard to come by in Hollywood. While streaming companies have posted record profits, rank and file union members have seen their quality of life erode with stagnant wages and an assault on health and pension plans. Skilled workers years into their careers are making little more than $15 an hour. Crew members are sharing horror stories of car accidents after 18-hour days and health issues stemming from being denied bathroom breaks. If workers vote yes on the upcoming strike authorization, the strike will be unprecedented for their union and significant for their entire labor movement. The International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, IATSE, has never actually struck all of its West Coast locals at once. An estimated 60,000 IATSE members could walk off their jobs in the coming weeks, which could be the biggest private sector strike in the United States in over a decade. Striking workers would include almost everyone who works on a film set besides directors, writers, and actors. In show business, we use the term below the line to describe this group, which includes camera operators, grips, costumers, script supervisors, writers' assistants, set decorators, and many more. The term comes from the actual position of names on call sheets where directors, writers, and top-billed acting talent are placed above the line. Great Schmodown team. Without below-the-line workers, the films and shows you watch would never get made. Individual locals of IATSE have struck before. 1941 saw the famous Disney's animators strike sparked by Walt Disney's failure to share profits on Snow White. History is a flat circle. This era of militancy and Tinseltown accumulated in the 1945 strike of the nascent set decorators local, which is remembered as the most violent strike in Hollywood history. Since then, lingering post-blacklist anti-communism in the industry and neoliberalism in society at large have led to a less militant climate. Even so, the WGA, Writers Guild of America, has struck 6 times since World War II, while actors walked off 4 times, once ironically led by Screen Actors Guild President Ronald Reagan. I don't have the clip on the deck. I probably should, but just assume I played the clip from Revenge of the Sith of Palpatine going, ironic. The more boss-friendly Directors Guild of America has struck only once for a total of 3 hours and 5 minutes roughly the length of a lunch meeting at the Ivy. If the upcoming IATSE strike authorization vote and subsequent bargaining result in a strike, it would be one of the largest in Hollywood history. And with so many different crafts walking out, it would be also the most disruptive. Film and television in the United States would grind to a halt. I'm standing up for one moment. I have a scented candle in here, and it's making me congested. One moment. Stepping away from the microphone. Travis, feel free to play the Smash Mouth USSR national anthem into the microphone, if you please.
If I go for that, he can't hear me right now. But if I go for that, he'll be back by the time I play it. I have everything closed out on my phone because I think this is no Shang Chi is next. We're talking some nice things, but I didn't get a chance to. So
I figured. I was just trying to get a cheap laugh. The Writers Guild of America traditionally set pattern for Hollywood. The DGA bargains first, and then the WGA goes second, but tend to bargain more aggressively. Though the WGA membership and leadership were prepared to walk the picket line, they were unable to strike during their last contract negotiation, which unfortunately fell during the height of COVID-19. As a result, IATSE has found itself in a unique position to set the tone for Hollywood labor. For months, 13 West Coast locals have been participating in negotiations with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, AMPTP, which represents companies like Disney, Amazon, and Viacom. All reports have indicate that the union and the bosses are failing to see eye to eye on numerous bargaining points. What's at stake in the stalemate is no less than the future of the industry in this era of streaming. In the early 2000s,
really quick, I'm going to prove a point. Keep talking. I'm going to prove a point really quick. It might take me like a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay. In the early 2000s, streaming services were classified as new media in the various entertainment contracts because their future was viewed as uncertain. As the footprint of these companies and their profiles have skyrocketed, or profits have skyrocketed, the overly generous deals they received as, quote, new media enterprises have largely stayed in place. Consequently, streaming services have been able to offer lower pay, enjoy less restrictive rules, and owe lower residuals, even though they have replaced traditional film and television companies in terms of output and income. Today's entertainment industry workers are doing the same work as previous generations for less pay while companies post unprecedented profits. If you worked on Friends, you probably own a house. If you worked on WandaVision, you're probably still renting. Workers don't even have clarity on how many people see the fruits of their labor. Tech companies are notoriously protective of their consumer data and often digital residuals are fixed quarterly payments rather than payments tied to actual viewership. The upshot is that someone who works on a massive hit like Stranger Things gets the same residual pay as someone who has a hand in creating a quickly canceled one-season wonder. The rise of so-called new media has not only resulted in lower wages in Hollywood, but also brought along the long simmering quality of life issue to a head. One key issue in these negotiations is turnaround, the industry term for how long workers get between days of work. A minimum 10-hour turnaround is supposed to be mandatory for crew, but this is often not honored. A popular graphic created by IATSE features a bloodshot eye and reads, "Give us a night at rest and on weekends." You're back.
The point I proved just now is how easy it is to let someone go use the bathroom. Because I had to pee. I went and peed. That took me a minute.
Speaking of which,
it's not hard.
Hey, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up this article and keep reading because I have to pee too.
Uno momento.
It's about halfway through the camera and lighting crews.
Look at us just flexing on these people in the industry.
I know. I feel bad.
Let's see.
It's right after the new media bit.
Is it a new subtitle?
Yeah, cameras and lighting crew locals have been particularly vocal on this issue.
I found it.
Cool. You read that. I'll go to the bathroom. I'm going to full screen you.
All right, cool. Camera and lighting crew locals have been particularly vocal on this issue. In a rare move, a group of 14 top cinematographers, including Roger Deakins, No Country for Old Men. They have little things here, I guess. It's funnier because I can't see him. Emmanuel Chivo Lubezki from Birdman and Ellen Kuris from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind recently penned an open letter calling on the AMPTP to increase daily rest periods and implement weekend rest periods to ensure the physical and mental health of every member of the crew. I'm going to take a pause really quick right here. Personal reasons. The reason this show was late this week slightly is because my days are switched. So we don't record Monday evenings anymore. We record Monday mornings because I wanted to give myself a weekend. Because before I had day off, and then the rest work. I have 2 days off in a row now, and my mental health and physical health, but mostly my mental health, have improved dramatically. It makes a hell of a difference. And if you're not letting yourself rest from work enough, you should do that because it's important and these people deserve it. Having gotten my start in locations and production. Oh, this is the person writing the article, I guess. This is the author. And I guess this means they're also a member of the union. That's the word. Having gotten my start in locations and production, I can attest that 14-hour days or longer are par for the course in Hollywood. The reality is that the penalties for overtime are not enough to deter producers from pushing crews to the brink. Wages and working hours are not the only issue on the table. Each of the 13 locals contains many crafts, and all of them have their own bargaining points to address. The Instagram account @IA Stories has been collecting anonymous workplace horror stories from rank-and-file union members. The account has amassed over 90,000 followers as of this writing. Its feed is full of shocking stories detailing what Hollywood workers put up with every day. If you scroll through their posts, you'll see everything from production assistants being asked to break the law to camera operators being denied bathroom breaks. Swallow a little bit of spit wrong. This just all checks out with any job that requires labor, and it's unfortunate. Despite the abhorrent conditions many crew members contend with, the studios are seeking rollbacks of existing benefits, citing the pandemic, even though Hollywood has maintained a healthy balance sheet throughout the COVID-19 era. Several publications have reported that the AMPTP is seeking rollbacks in pension contributions and so-called meal penalties, fines production companies must pay if they keep crew working past their scheduled meal breaks.
So we're going to stop right there for a second.
Okay, I've interjected a little bit as I've been reading.
Okay.
The first paragraph you had me read, I'll catch you up really quick, was about how they're not getting enough rest and their mental health and physical health is deteriorating. And I talked about my own work schedule that I just had changed a couple months ago to have a weekend. Like I have 2 days in a row off.
Yeah.
And oh boy, has it been nice. Like my job still sucks, and while I'm there, I want to die. But at least I have 2 days in a row to just.
Honestly, I've been considering trying to change my work schedule around a little bit because right now, I mean, I like having Saturdays off because that means I can do. I have a free day on the actual weekend.
Yeah.
And right now, my work schedule accommodates this really well. But boy, howdy, would I like to have 2 days in a row off because I don't and I hate it.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm assuming from what I came in, we've already started talking about the fact that film companies and studios have been getting fined into their budgets.
Yeah, so like we both listened to the same podcast you mentioned it up top, and this started to touch on it. I don't know if it'll actually get into it, but basically that fine of like, oh, your workers have been working past their breaks, we're going to fine you because of this. That gets worked into the budget. or like if I have $100,000 to spend on a movie, I know that's a really low number, but like if I have $100,000, I'm going to spend that on a movie, and the fine
Enjoy this 30-minute shot in the woods.
shot on an iPhone, like yeah. Exactly. But like
being a dick, I'm sorry.
You know, just the like $100,000 I have, maybe 10,000 of that, I don't know, gets budgeted just for these fines, right? Because I know the way I've scheduled out how this movie needs to get made, that we're not going to have decent meal breaks. I don't know how those fines exactly work. If it's on like a per event basis of like every day they miss their lunch, you have to pay a small fine, or if it's just like a one and done, like we paid this big fine and now it doesn't matter kind of deal. But
either way, building that into the system, like inherently your system is broken. You know, like what comedian made that joke? I really hope it wasn't Chris D'Elia, because Chris D'Elia is a predator. But somebody made a joke about how, like, I can't remember what comedian is to save my life. Basically talking about like parking tickets only affect poor people. Because if you're rich, you're just paying for parking.
mm-hmm.
You know, or like speed limits apply to poor people. If you're rich, doing 90 and a 60 is just real world DLC for you. I'm on a roll today.
I've never heard it called that, but you know what? You're not wrong.
New rule. We record TNAP at night now. Because I'm on fire. I'm awake. It says everything about my mental health, that it is 20 to midnight. And that's where I said, I'm at my peak.
In my lane, moisturized. Whatever the other ones are. I don't remember. I'm hip. I know memes.
Do you want me to take back over, buddy?
I think I'll keep going for a little bit.
All right.
There's a lot on the table that is specific to the particular work environment of Hollywood, but themes in these negotiations echo other recent labor disputes across the country. Weird how that's been happening lately. Tech industry disruption has led emboldened corporate management to squeeze the craftspeople and artists who make their media content. For example, Quibi's short-lived business model was predicated on underpaying their crews, and copycats are sure to follow in its wake. It is no coincidence that Hollywood has also seen the same spike in labor militancy and left-wing politics that has erupted in sectors like teaching, journalism, logistics, and hospitality. The tech-focused private equity overlords used the same playbook in every industry. How far are we going to read into this? We're almost done, I think.
Yeah, we got like one more section here.
Yeah, okay, really quick. An IATSE strike would be a high watermark in Hollywood's labor resurgence, but the trend of increasing militancy in the entertainment industry has been evident for years. Democratic Socialists of America, DSA, backed city council candidate Nithya Raman?
Yep.
Raman? I don't want to think it's ramen.
I think it is ramen, though.
Rip. Unseated incumbent David Ryu in Los Angeles' 4th District and robust support from workers in the entertainment industry. Unite Here organized Hugo Soto Martinez and is looking to do the same in the 13th District next cycle. Television writers' assistants and script coordinators unionized following a successful drive by IATSE 871 in 2018. Unions like the UYAYANI, the United Teachers of Los Angeles, and Unite Here have counted on Hollywood workers as a part of their coalitions during strikes and direct actions. DSA members and coalition partners have won board seats in several unions. DSA Los Angeles' Hollywood Labor Project was recently the subject of a positive profile in The Hollywood Reporter, a publication that was once notorious for red baiting. I'm assuming that's some kind of communist thing.
Yeah, it's Red Scare bullshit.
Okay. Whether IATSE will strike remains uncertain. A majority of delegates from participating locals must vote in favor of the authorization, and local delegates can only support the authorization if 75% of the local votes yes. While Hollywood unions tend to get a high percentage of yes votes, the 2017 WGA strike authorized passed with 96% favor, while the 1980 SAG strike saw 90% with its members vote for a strike. It is crucial that the union get an overwhelming majority ahead of a potential strike. In recent days, there has been an outpouring of support from prominent writers, actors, directors, and local politicians as the possibility of a strike looms. If the union does strike, it will enjoy robust support from an increasingly radicalized Hollywood. It remains to be seen whether AMPTP will concede to IATSE's reasonable
I'm sorry, that
demands.
last sentence got me a little bit horny. I apologize. Keep going.
Yeah. I like how they say reasonable demands
Yeah.
as if like just like to really push, like they're not asking for a lot.
Again, I will say this is the Jacobin, so like we're already dealing with a leftist publication here.
Yeah. Following an overwhelming majority strike, authorized vote, or if the union will be forced to walk off the job. Either the AMPTP will voluntarily recognize which way the wind is blowing, or the union will have to show them. Which
I just got hornier.
Yeah.
You know how people on TikTok kept making those jokes about like the bit and how the world works, where Bo's like, yes, what? And they were like, oh, I didn't know that was going to turn me on. Okay, I feel some kind of way. I didn't know that was going to turn me on. Also, I forgot to read the byline. That was Brendan Gallagher of the Jacobin. I mentioned the Jacobin and mentioned the writer.
Thank you.
So,
Brendan.
yeah, don't let anybody spin this any other way than people trying to reclaim their goddamn humanity from their employers. I don't give a shit how many shows get delayed. There's a lot of shit in the can. We're going to be entertained. And you know what? This is what Netflix and other streaming services exist for. We have hiccups now. But we have content on demand. As hard as it will be, if they do go on strike during this time, I know it basically means nobody watches TV or turns on their streaming services for a couple days. And maybe not a couple days. I would like to hope not. I would like to hope that they don't have to do a strike, or if they do, it's a short one. Not because I don't want to cross that picket line. If this shit passes, I'm watching YouTube and YouTube alone.
Yeah.
And even their hands aren't clean here, but like they're the only ones that like won't involve crossing the goddamn picket line, right? So like, don't cross this picket. If you can help it, don't cross this picket line. I know that's asking a lot of people, but if this does go to strike, truly, we need to stand in solidarity with these people. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like we were talking about with the last story, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, and at its core, what we're looking at here is a situation where good people, people who want to help make the art and entertainment that we love, the art and entertainment that make us do what we do on a weekly basis. You know, I love making this. I love producing the content we make here. Everybody loves doing what we do. But it always comes at the cost of other people. You know, and with these kinds of inhumane working conditions.
I don't recall the name of the guest that they had on Worst Year to talk about this. And I just looked, and her name isn't in the.
It's
the description.
Olga something.
Olga. Olga and Garrison on that show talked a lot about the. One of the things you're trained for when you're going into that industry, and this permeates all of labor in the United States, right? This isn't just like a Hollywood thing, but especially for like lower level labor. You go in and you are it's beaten into you that you are replaceable, right? That you are just another pawn on the chessboard. It does not matter if you quit or get mad and leave. They will replace you. And right now we are primed. America is I'm going full to the left here for a minute, right? We are primed to show them otherwise. Like, there's a reason our local Burger King has a sign up that says if you go on for if you get hired and you're there long enough, you get $1,000 signing bonus. Nobody wants to work shit jobs anymore because they realized they're shit jobs.
Yep. Well, it's not even that they realize it's shit jobs. It's they realize there's no reason why the pay and treatment and benefits can't be adequate.
Yeah.
I truly, if it's almost embarrassing to put it this way because I feel like a fucking poser when I say it. If the working conditions that were in place in the United States, if we truly lived up to the big game that we talk as a country and as how great we are and how amazing our economy is and all that shit, you and I would not be radicalized the way that we are if that was actually in place. That absolutely would. What are you laughing at? What?
Nothing. No, but that's
if you're only listening to this show, if you don't at least try to watch the video version, you're missing out.
God, I just had it. I had it in the palm of my hand. But you're right though. It's not not just it's a shit job and no one wants to work it. It's that the model, and
you're
I got my
treated
haircut
like shit. It's not that the job is shit. You're treated like shit.
I got my hair cut, right? And I was talking, the person who's cut my hair for over a decade, right? She and I bullshit all the time. Talking to her about work because work's been shit. And watching her realize in real time where the actual problem is, right? I was telling her oh yeah, we didn't get trucks for 3 days. We think there might have been a walkout or a strike at one of our distribution centers. We didn't get anything for 3 days. The system we're under right now rigged against us. It's not possible for us to do our job in the amount of time we have adequately, right? And we do not have the people to hire to replace the people that aren't doing their job. So the fallback, who is at fault here? Because when you tell the story of a bunch of people walked out of the DC and now we don't have groceries, right? So you're going to go, oh, the workers at the distribution center are the problem. They walked out and now we don't have groceries. And it's well, they walked out probably because they're understaffed and underpaid like the rest of us. Oh, well then I guess the problem is Walmart for not paying well enough and treating their workers well enough. And
that's the same conversation. Sorry.
For example, I work 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's my shift. I work that shift every day that I work. Guess when I took my lunch break yesterday? Guess when I clocked out on we have an app.
9?
You can clock 8:46.
Close enough.
Yeah. Just casual. A casual 8:46 p.m. lunch for a 9-hour day. Right? So when you factor things like that in, and you're okay, so something has to change. And your model is based on 2 things. Fear of replaceability, right? That it doesn't matter that I have problems with these working conditions. They can just replace me. And the general American mindset that essential jobs that aren't healthcare, and this is not to demoralize that healthcare has its own labor problems and they need to fix that shit too. But in general, essential
talking about what is commonly referred to as unskilled labor.
Yes. That those jobs are specifically for people either under the age of 18 or still in college and retirees, right? You're 65, you're retired from your business, your office job, and you realized you're bored as shit and you don't feel like socializing because you're 65 or 68 or whatever the age is, it's too damn high.
Or we've gutted any type of pension or social security to the point where after they retired, they still need to get another job. Because capitalism owns your fucking soul. I'm sorry, Joel. I'm revved up. I love you. I'm sorry.
So yeah, when like your mindset is everyone working at this Walmart that I'm in right now is under the age of 22 or over the age of 65 and does like are just unskilled laborers, like they don't fucking matter. And then we spend a year being told by the government
That they're superheroes.
that like I spent a
Which they
year
are.
in the most populated place in our town getting paid to do like
To touch stuff and breathe other people's air.
but yeah, and they didn't give a shit about COVID. Our town doesn't give a shit about COVID. I have no idea how I never got it. Statistically speaking, I should have had it 8 times by now. I do not understand how it didn't happen. But yeah, we're ready, man. Like I'm telling you, I'm this close. I'm this close. One day I'm going to show up and everyone's already going to be pissed. And I'm going to be like, hey guys, what if we just leave? They're not going to know what to do. The whole thing's going to collapse, man. And my job in particular, we're kind of getting away from the Hollywood thing for a minute. I'm just kind of venting now. I've had a rough couple of days. Our job is the most separated from the point of sale, right? Like I'm in the back touching stuff on the truck. I never talk to customers really. I don't interact with stuff going on the shelf. I'm just interacting on the truck, which means in the eye of corporate, I'm the least valuable member in the store. Even if they don't inherently like consciously think that, like if I'm, and I say this as someone who like can objectively look at the situation and know if my goal is to optimize that everyone is contributing to profits. I'm the only department in the store that isn't. I'm also the only reason that store has anything to profit from. Because no one else wants to get in those trucks because those trucks are OSHA violations on wheels. Like, at any point, I have to throw a truck and I get pissed or like I walk out or whatever. And they're like, what's wrong? And I'm like, what's wrong? And I'm like, that shit's a death trap. Like you like, or they're like, I don't understand what's wrong. Why aren't you throwing fast? Like, why aren't you doing your job faster? And I'm like, then you do it. And without fail, every time management goes, no, I can't do that. That'll fucking kill me. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So you understand.
The utter lack of self-awareness is staggering.
I got really excited today. They told us corporate was coming in, and I was so excited to call somebody a lizard to their face, and it never got to happen. I was quite upset.
Oh, damn it.
But.
Oh, that's an oldie but a goodie.
So yeah, I hope they strike. I don't hope they strike. I hope they get what they want. And if they don't,
I hope they get the chance to put their balls on the table.
Yes.
Because I hope they get a chance.
And the reason this has been allowed to happen this long, kind of bring it back around. Again, these companies, as they exist right now, are too big to fail, and they know that, right? Netflix knows that they can take a week off and be fine. What happens if it's 2 weeks? What happens if it's 3 weeks? How big are you actually? Right? Like how far can you fall before you realize that you can't catch yourself? And that's kind of like again, they could, if anyone actually gave a shit about looking for this, they could probably fire me instantly. I don't care. our store is falling apart at the seams in the back. That's not true. Right now it's doing okay because they have my good friend Jake, who is holding that store together like a
TNAP
goddamn
Discord mod, Jake.
a goddamn Spider-Man movie. Like he's doing this shit. Right? He's the only reason it doesn't look like we are losing an entire store worth of merchandise. And if he were to leave, if he were to stop doing his job, that store would probably get shut down. That's not an exaggeration, because if he leaves, the store will immediately look like they dropped like an entire store's worth of product. Will just fall out of the system. It's like we never had it, and all that money gets lost. And they'll be like, oh, can't have that anymore.
I've never seen a closed Walmart.
But you know why? Is because it doesn't
Like
need to
seeing
work.
a Walmart close is like walking up and like finding the bones of a giant. Like you're just like, what killed you? It's like the Force Awakens. It's like the Gozan Badlands, where it's just like down super Star Destroyers and AT-ATs everywhere, and it's like something killed the beast. What happened here?
I want to do it. One day, I want to take my kids.
I know you do.
I want to take my kids to that building. I want it to still say Walmart with a closed sign and be like, I helped do this.
Nature's starting to take it back, and it's just like shrubbery growing up in and around the Walmart.
I'll get that tattooed. I'll do a fucking Ben. I've done like 3. I'm sorry, Joel. I want it as like a Ben Affleck sized back tattoo.
So, in short, you know how I would describe workers' rights?
It's gonna be a big nut bust.
When I opened the notes, I opened the TNAP drive, and I saw that was saved. I saw that clip and went, when's he gonna hit me with it? I don't know when.
I remembered today. I was like, I absolutely need to add that to the stream deck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a big nut bust.
Not that I want to talk about, after the conversation we had, talk about Disney making a lot of money is a good thing, but there is a good thing to this story.
Yes, there is. And I specifically, this is the first movie. Like, I could have watched Suicide Squad for free, and I did, mostly out of laziness.
Whenever it is back on, I almost said Warner Brothers Plus, HBO Max.
You said the same thing twice. I don't understand.
You specifically would really like it. It was incredible.
Okay. I only heard good things, and again, it was strictly out of like I feel too lazy to like put myself down for 2 hours or whatever. I made a point to go see Shang Chi, mostly out of spite, because like I felt Siam Liu's rage at this experiment.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was already excited for this movie, and then hearing them be like, oh yeah, we don't know if this will do well, because, it's not led by white people. It's like, are you...
See, I didn't get the vibe from that statement, but again, like, as a white dude, that absolutely could be a microaggression that would have slipped my antennas. I absolutely interpret that as like, all right, we're just dropping the movie without premiere access. Here we go. I got, that's what the vibe I got. Like, that's what I thought they were getting at. But clearly everybody else on the planet interpreted that in a different way.
I feel like it was both, though. I feel like it was because like Black Widow, they could have done it with Black Widow and still been fine because it's Black Widow, right? You have the name recognition of Black Widow, who's finally getting her own movie, It got delayed. It's finally coming out. Like,
Yeah.
you probably could have gotten away with
Send
that.
off for the fallen Avenger. Yeah.
Shang Chi is a relative unknown if you're not like I didn't know who he was before the movie.
Most
got
people
announced,
who religiously read Marvel comics don't know who didn't know who Shang-Chi was.
right. So you have
Most
this
people didn't know
character-
how to say his name until this year. Like
I said it wrong the first time I said it in this show. But like you have this character not a lot of people know, an entire movie led by not white people, which unfortunately does like mean something, you know. Like it means that if you I don't know how to phrase this, it doesn't make me sound like an asshole. But like it shouldn't matter. But it does.
yeah.
But because it does, then suddenly that triggers everybody else to go, oh wait, this matters. We need to go, like, we need to support this. Which is awesome. Right? So like you kind of saw it with Crazy Rich Asians too, a bit.
Yeah. Kind of
And-
like the Black Panther effect.
Yes, exactly. And like I think if we were in normal times or normalcy, what like if COVID hadn't happened, this would have been like a full Black Panther hit of a movie, I think. And
Exactly. The only thing holding this movie back is the pandemic.
Yes, absolutely.
That's it. Like it right now, Shang-Chi is performing the way any other MCU flick does, just that the numbers are smaller. Like Black Widow had to compete with itself for the at-home release on Premier Access. So who knows what the full box office potential of Black Widow was. But as of this weekend, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the highest grossing movie of 2021.
Which is not surprising in the slightest.
Not at all. It will be dethroned by Spider-Man. Hell, it might even get dethroned by Venom.
That's true.
Because for some godforsaken reason, the first one did incredible.
Well, and it's because it's Venom, right? Like I think people underestimate how popular Venom is. Hell, I'm going to see it with my brother because when I was a kid, my first like real introduction to comic book characters who I didn't know were comic book characters, I would go to stay at my brother's and hang out with him and my nephew, who's my age because my family's weird. And we would watch things like The Punisher and Ghost Rider and play Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but specifically as like Venom and Ghost Rider and shit. Because my brother liked the like edgier, like
anti-hero.
Like that's his shit. He texted me and was like, "Hey man, you want to go see the Carnage movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'm going to see it."
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. On Thursday, he's watching the first one with me.
Yeah.
I'm prepping him because I was gonna hit you up because I'm like, shit. Travis and I are both off during the day on Friday. We should go see Venom. He's like, go see it with my brother. I'm like, okay. I'm making you watch the first one. You're not getting out of this without seeing the first one. You said you were never gonna watch Dark Phoenix or Venom, and now look, you're about to watch both. Well, we'll have watched both. I'm not making you watch both in the same night. I'm not locking you in the studio.
The things we do for art, I tell you.
Listen, he would stab me with the Sting replica. Like if he even saw the cursor anywhere near Dark Phoenix, he would cut me from taint to throat to make sure that I did not put that movie on. This is from Anthony D'Alessandro from Deadline. The Sunday early AM right through with chart, Disney Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is coming ahead of industry estimates of 12.8 million for its fourth number one weekend with 13.3 million. As we told you earlier, thanks to the Pix $3.6 million Friday, Shang-Chi has become the highest grossing movie of the pandemic box office, overtaking Black Widow's 186.7 million domestic with a current, and this is this is 3 days ago. This was Sunday. This was written with a current 196.5 by the end of the day today. Box office for Shang Chi. So yeah, this is big. Again, we're talking about the movies that that have a more diverse cast, that have a more diverse crew, succeeding at the box office. Get woke, go broke is a goddamn lie, and they know that. So, Travis, what'd you think of What If?
Not my favorite episode, and I don't mean to say that like I didn't enjoy it or that it was bad. It was cute, and I did enjoy it, just not as much as other ones. You know.
Very coy Jandrew of you. Down to your tone of voice with that one.
Yeah, well,
that is a high compliment.
I don't.
Are you gonna turn into Venom now too?
I need to get this shirt. I think paycheck comes around. I'm gonna finally pick up my 5150 shirt.
Well, whether or not you get a 5150 shirt before your birthday determines whether or not I go with Plan A or Plan B for your birthday.
I'll let you know.
I mean, I'm sure you'll be wearing it on Number One Contender, so I'm sure I'll find out. I need to get a Lady Justice shirt. I need to get a Marisol shirt. Also, do they still have Roka merch? Because if they have Roka merch, I gotta buy a Roka shirt since this is his last season. This is a conversation for Number One Contender.
Yeah.
Absolutely a conversation for Number One Contender. But
yeah, episode was really like it was sweet. I liked it. It looks like we were right last week of the like all of these what if universes are going to come together in a final fight for episode. It looks like next week is going to be the setup for the end of this one.
You mean the one that comes out in 3 hours?
Yeah, because it's the What If Ultron 1.
Yeah, right. I also think... So, I saw this in the Comic Book Cast Facebook group. It looks like there were a couple episodes we were supposed to have this season that got pushed to the next season. And it looks like it was the What If Tony Stark ended up on Sakaar. Were we still getting Nebula or Gamora the Mad Titan?
Oh, right. Maybe it's part of What If Ultron 1?
Maybe. I don't know. I really like the design for like Ultimate Ultron.
Yeah.
Infinite. I'm just calling him Infinite Ultron for now. I'm going to be honest. I was not a fan of this episode. Like, I didn't like it. It was one of those, like, it just wasn't like, this is one that, like, if it weren't for the fact that we review these on a weekly basis, like, if this podcast didn't exist, there's a good chance I get maybe like 10 minutes in and just kind of check out. That said, the episode did redeem itself for me with the Captain Marvel Thor fight. That was really good. And like, it literally, I know we don't typically do like individual episode letter grades. We should probably start doing that. But like, if I were to give it one, it was probably looking at like C minus, maybe even D territory for me. I was bored by it. It just felt super inconsequential,
I think that's the thing. I think it felt like there was no, because you knew by the end, like you could feel it. It wasn't going to amount to like nukes actually went off. So the tension wasn't as high.
And maybe it has something to do with the fact that like every What If episode either has a tragic ending or a tragic cliffhanger, or like at least a quarter of your main characters are dead already type outcome. That like, what if Thor was more of a frat bro douchebag? Was kind of, like
It was just more fun
coming
and
off the
light.
heels of the Killmonger Tony Stark stuff. I was a little like, okay, I go again, still trying to be not like completely negative. I do like this design for Thor. I did like the extra gold on the outfit. It was an outfit I liked a lot. In a universe, if I ever were to like even like entertain the idea of cosplaying Thor, this costume is at the top of the list, just color scheme wise. And I guess that like part of the setup here, if this is all going to fall into like one massive crossover, the idea that they do party Thor, like what feels like the least consequential one, ends up at the top of the hit parade for Infinite Ultron, I think is interesting. Where it's like, yeah, okay, like this was like this felt like a normal, like not like a superhero cartoon. Like it just felt like that episode that's in every cartoon where the main character makes a big mess and then cleans it.
This was incredibly deliberate. They were like trying to place this episode. Very much felt that they were like, if we put this anywhere else in the show, it's gonna get lost. It's gonna feel lackluster.
Yeah.
Without this, and like you and I kind of foresaw it, in one way or another, of there being this like moment of all of these characters, all these what if versions of the characters meeting.
And well, because they have that shot in the main trailer where they're recreating the like circle shot, and I said from there, I was like, I don't know if they're teasing all of these to like happen at once, or if this is just a cool money shot.
The other thing though, they're kind of like that when you said it last week didn't make me go like, led me to agree with you. I don't remember what car brand it is. Has an ad out, like has a commercial out right now, partnered with What If, where they're all together and Thor's driving one of the cars. Like it's specifically Party Thor driving a car, but like they're fighting. Like Captain, I would say Captain Marvel, Captain Carter's there, and I forget who else that we've seen is there, and
Die.
it's hey, that's what I drive. Yeah, it's like a weird, like, oh, they had this animation of all these characters together. That's strange. I wonder why that is. Anyway.
They're fighting Ultron bots.
Yep, okay. Well, that answers that question. Thanks, Hyundai.
Yeah. Also, maybe we're not getting Titan Gamora, because the only Avengers that at least in that commercial, it was T'Challa Lord, Dark Strange, Captain Carter, Party Thor.
Unless, again, because it looks like this week's going to be the setup. It's going to be the here, like they're going to show us the universe where Ultron wins, and maybe in that universe, his like biggest fight is with Titan Gamora. Maybe. And teasing Titan Gamora is like not as much of a giveaway as teasing Infinite Ultron. So
that's fair. But yeah, no, I wasn't super into this one. The voice acting was good. Was that Natalie Portman? Because that lady did a damn good Natalie Portman. If that wasn't Natalie Portman, I don't like to be this guy who asks like the stupid actually like. I hate using the word plot hole because this isn't a plot hole, but like that kind of conversation. Travis, I want your honest answer. How the shit did they give Thor a tattoo? Like, it doesn't matter. It did not make me like or dislike this episode any less. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, it's ruined because he somehow gave him a tattoo. Like, I was just sitting there. I'm like, how the hell did they pull that one off?
Really quick. Sorry to not answer right away. This is the most like actual cast I think we've had.
Yeah.
It was Natalie Portman. It was Jeff Goldblum.
Hiddleston, Hemsworth,
Sam Jackson, Kobe Smulders. It was all of them. Like, they were all there. So
Brie Larson. Now be careful, because like the Skingeely man, if you say her name too many times, the quartering will wake up with a full mass erection and have to make a video about how much he hates her.
But I thought she got fired from Disney. And then rehired and fired and rehired and fired and rehired and fired. You know, just the cycle.
So if Brie isn't getting fired and then rehired,
oh yeah, you're right. It's
that's Kathleen Kennedy's week.
Yeah. Okay. They got her on a good. Okay, that makes they're scheduling over at Disney. I see.
But yeah, no, the fight saved it for me. I really liked the fight. It was cool. I also like the way that they make it very clear where they were like, hey, why weren't you able to just one hit KO him? And she was like, would you like the citizens of Las Vegas to be alive still? Okay, then I can't hit him as hard as I can. I like that. I like that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm excited for this What If. I'm excited to see Infinite Ultron.
Yeah.
And then next week's episode, we won't be talking about Infinite Ultron.
Which will actually, you know what? If it's going to be a two-parter, kind of works out.
Kind of for the better. You're not wrong. Next week, assuming everything goes according to plan and nothing gets in our way, Venom Let There Be Carnage review will be next week. This week on Knights of the Nerd Republic, hold on to your asses. Travis is going to be on KNR for the first time in like a hot minute, because it's going to be our Star Wars Visions review. So stay tuned for that. Lots of reviews coming out this week because a lot of stuff is all coming out at once. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that, and as well as the usual program content, your number one contender, and stuff like that. Also, Movie Club will be back for Spooky Month. I don't want to set in stone what we're doing, but there's a good chance that we do the Fear Street trilogy as like the entirety of Spooky Month. Because I watched it this past weekend, and if I were to I'm so glad the Fear Street trilogy exists, because if I were to try to describe what my perfect horror movie would look like, it's this trilogy. Like, I always have such a hard time trying to pin down, and Travis has heard me do this spiel a billion times, where it's like, I like supernatural mystery. Like, if you can make the focal point of your story trying to get to the bottom of a mystery that is somehow made more difficult, or the crux of that mystery itself is rooted in some type of supernatural magic mumbo jumbo, you will have me. It is the sole reason why I became obsessed with Five Nights at Freddy's in my late teens and early 20s, because it was, there's a murder mystery and there's ghosts. You know, like, you will hook me instantaneously. It was the same shit with Us, you know, where it's like something creepy's going on and it's a mystery. Let's like the goal is figuring out what the hell is happening. You know, like your Friday the 13th, to my knowledge, the crux of the story is not figuring out why Jason Voorhees came back to life. You know what I mean? And we all know that it's Jason Voorhees killing these people. But trying to figure out who, why, or how, that shit I'm into. And that's exactly what Fear Street does. So, assuming things go according to plan, we're going to do the Fear Street trilogy, and then we're going to have a very special episode of Movie Club that will release on Halloween. Assuming everything goes according to plan. Which is a big if around these parts.
A big what if?
It's gonna be a big nut bust.
Anyway, when I was rewatching that video to get that clip, I forgot about the part where he takes his penis out.
I knew that was exactly what you were gonna say. I mean, as soon as you started speaking, I was like, he's gonna talk about the guy taking his dick out.
And how like Spencer got so excited. Like we did our like first episode all in the same room in a long time when Spencer showed Joel and I that video for the first time. And I went, did he take his dick out? And like both of them were like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm talking about him clearly swinging his penis around out of his shorts. And I had to like rewind it, pause it, and then like crouch down next to Nana's TV and go, that's a dick. But in their defense, it's also like potato quality, and the camera's shaky. So like, there's a reason why they could have missed it, but also Spencer wouldn't shut up about how much he and his Grove City friends thought this video was hilarious. So one of them should have caught it by now. Anyway, Travis, where can the lovely people find you, brother?
Picketing at Travis Political on Twitter and Instagram. Jared,
Yes.
where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where, if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Give me $1! Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Feige's Boomer Burner, Delta 9, Zach Knaus, Michael Armburst. I think I got everybody. And the gayest of Alex Jones's gay frogs. Be sure to consider the $5 tier. You get access to the Teen Movie Club audio commentaries, the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series, Skier versus Savaggio Press will be out soon, not on the 1st, but soon. That week it will be out. Also, Dark Knight's Metal for Heroic History 101, because Travis and I are getting back on the horse. God damn it. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things. Thank you so very much for listening. Support IATSE. Support the lawsuit against Marvel and Disney.
Float the idea of going on strike at your workplace.
Yes.
Just casually. Hey guys, what if we all walked out? Just like that. Just like that. See what happens. You might be surprised.
Thank you all so very much for listening. Get back to class. And remember to redistribute the means of Cookie Cop.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!